In this episode, I talk with my good friend Hunter Gonzales. We talk about his college life, his business, family, sports, and health. I hope you enjoy it. So, how's it going?
It is going great, Gabe. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Of course, of course. So, I guess we can just get right into it. So you own your own business, right?
I do. Me and my wife have owned our own business for about 6 years now, incorporated back in 2017. So, yeah, that is 6 years. Sorry, my mental math's not the best. But yeah, we've been doing this for about 6 years, self employed. We've been personal trainers for, oh, shoot, a combined 14, 15 years now. So, this is pretty much all I've ever done.
Why did you want to be a personal trainer, and how was that like how did that combine with your wife now and like you?
Awesome, awesome. So, I guess that's a really good segue. So, listeners, he sent me a kind of a cheat sheet, so I kind of knew what to expect. I think everybody when they interview anybody, they do send a cheat sheet. But that's a great segue, Gabe. I got
Sometimes.
to give you props for that one. So, guys, I have been an athlete, and I hesitate to use the word athlete because I feel like anytime I say that, like I'm some just, I feel like I'm making myself out to be some stud. And my wife's sitting here looking at me. She's laughing because she's like, "Yeah, you're not a stud, babe."
You are an
Um,
athlete though.
but yeah, I guess we can say I'm an athlete. So played football my entire life. Played golf, but golf's not as quote unquote sexy, so we won't even talk about golf. But um, played football my entire life and played defensive line and was pretty heavy. And back in my senior year of high school, I really kind of came to the realization that, hey, I'm not going to the NFL. I don't desire to go to the NFL. And even if I did desire, I'm just not good enough. So I need to be healthy and I need to start really focusing kind of on my long term health. So I said, I'm going to lose some weight. So I lost some weight. Like, of course, changing up my nutrition. Really, I wouldn't even say changing up my nutrition. I just stopped eating a ton, quite frankly.
I'll cut you off for 1 second. So what were you
Yeah.
eating?
So, Gabe, I think the better question would be, what wasn't I eating? I remember going through high school, and coaches would say, "Hey, man, we need you to put on weight," and I'd be like, "Well, hell, okay, let's do it." And so I remember walking through the halls of high school, and I would have like four sandwiches in between each like breakfast and lunch. And my wife's looking at me like, "Oh my,
What?
that's pretty unhealthy." Yes. So I would have like four sandwiches, and these suckers, I wasn't going with like that Sara Lee 45 calorie bread. It was like the Oro wheat, like 500 calorie per slice bread.
Wow.
And um and I would have like the cheese on it, I'd have the mayo, I'd have the ham, so on and so forth. So to answer your question, in kind of a long-winded response, it was really what I wasn't eating. And when I say that, I'm not exaggerating. It was, if something was put in front of me, I was going to eat it. So I said, I need to get healthy. I'm just not healthy. So lost a lot of weight, lost about 70 pounds. And then
What weight were you at the
so I was
peak?
200, I was 243 pounds. And I was like, and I, I guess you could say I carried it well. And I'll
Well, how
touch
high?
on
How
this.
tall?
About 6'1", 6'2",
Just
give or
six,
take, depending upon.
six, 6'2", 240.
Let's say that. And I thought I carried it relatively well, and that was that. So I went off to college and passed up some scholarship offers. I'm not going to act like I was some world beater and I had Nick Saban banging down my door, even though that would have been pretty cool. But passed up some scholarship offers and I toured the University of Mississippi because at the time I wanted to be a forensic scientist.
Ooh.
Because this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I always loved like crime scene shows as a kid. And so,
What's your favorite one?
I loved America's Most Wanted. That was on Saturday nights. And so I would watch that and it would just basically kind of be like, uh, they're trying to find, I forget the host's name, but he was really big. Um, Crap, I wish I could remember his name, John something. And I would watch and I'd be like, holy cow, like these people need to be found. And then after that, I would watch Forensic Files on like True TV or Court TV, I
Mm-hmm.
think is what it was called at the time. And yeah, it would freak me out like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old hearing those sounds, knowing that these people are like somewhere out there and they've just murdered somebody. But I remember saying, like, this is what I want to be. I want to find these people and I want to use their fingerprints to find them, yada, yada. And so Ole Miss had a really good forensic science program. So toured the campus, saw the college life, and was like, I'm going to walk on here. I think I can do this. And I don't know what I was smoking, but yeah, I thought I would walk on. So went to Ole Miss and I walked on. I'm not going to sit here and act like I was anything amazing because I wasn't. I will never forget the first time, and I think that this was actually a question you were going to ask. And feel free to tell me to be quiet at any time. I'm just kind of
Nope,
talking.
nope. That's what I want.
I remember seeing, and this guy's still in the NFL, Robert Kimdichie. I think he plays for I think it was the Cardinals this season. And he was 6'4". He was listed at 305 pounds. He was 18 years old, massive human being. And I remember going and seeing him, and this is going to sound kind of strange, but he had no shirt on. And this guy was fully tatted. And he's 18. And I'm like, well, shit, like, what's going on here? And then I remember looking at him like, I don't know, deeper and more in depth. I don't know what the word is. The dude was ripped, six pack beyond belief. And it was at that moment in time I said, my wife's sitting here laughing at me because she can probably imagine me doing this. But I remember thinking to myself, hey, football's over. Like, I will never amount to anything. I don't know why I'm wasting my time doing this. Like, this is like, no, this ain't gonna work. And it didn't work. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it did, but um, it was cool, I guess, being I wasn't part of the traveling team or anything, but just kind of being around it and seeing those guys that I knew. I'm not going to sit here and act like I was best friends with them or anything, but seeing those guys that I knew now play in the NFL. There's a few guys that I knew playing in the NFL, and that's kind of cool. Saying that, oh man, I knew this guy when he was a beast, yeah, but he wasn't. He of course wasn't in the NFL at the time. So
Did you notice anything like from the people that are now playing in the NFL to pretty much the rest of the college players, or was it just
so
natural this talent that they already had?
you hear uh, you hear that they're different. They're not normal like us. And you cannot, and I say you in general, you cannot grasp that until
Well,
you see these human beings that are, oh, what were you going to say?
Well, I have 2 examples on, like, my personal life, like, whenever I was in middle school, our, football team went to a spring spring practice of a college, and I was just like, "These guys are massive people, like, how could
Yeah.
I ever get to that point where I'm that size?" Like, we're
Yeah.
not the same type of person because I'm a pretty small person, and we're
Yep.
just not the same. And then the second one is my first NFL game I went to, and just like realizing I was probably 4 or 5 rows back from like in the front, and just realizing how like even the quarterbacks were not only were they extremely tall, like 6'5", 6 foot,
Yep.
but they were also like they were just big. Everything was big. Like
Yep.
there's no, and then the people that were quote small were like 5'10",
Was
two
still
fifty.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were still huge. And that's it. So, and it's kind of this is actually what I've started to use over the past, I don't know, 3 weeks since it happened, 2, 3 weeks since the whole Damar Hamlin thing happened. And so he has what happened. He has the cardiac arrest, goes into the hospital, and he comes out of the coma on like Thursday or Friday, whatever day it was. And this probably wasn't the first thing he said, but the first thing that was reported he said was, "Did we win?" And that exact thing. So you asked the question of like, were they different? That is how they were different. If you or I, our heart stops, I promise you, I'm not going to
Don't care.
ask when I wake up, did my team win? Like, no, I love you boys. Like, cool. Like, we're brothers, I guess. But pardon my language, I don't give a shit if our team won. Like, I care the fact that I just lived. But that shows just how much of a different breed
They
those
just
guys are.
breathe
That
football. Like it's
it's
everything's football.
exactly everything is football. And to kind of the physical attributes of it. Like I remember seeing a guy, and he didn't even play in the NFL. I think he graduated and he's doing whatever. I can't even remember his name. He was an offensive lineman. He might have been a second stringer, to be quite honest. I can't remember. And he was warming up on squat with my max. And this fool was like, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I was just strong as an ox because I wasn't. And I can't even remember what the weight was. But I remember seeing that and I was like, oh my God. Okay, well, I'm in the wrong place. Um, and that was it. I mean, they're just different people there. They really are.
Before we go back into like forensic stuff, uh, could you tell me like your best story in college, either with the football team or just haven't? Just, I don't know if you partied or anything, but
So I don't know if this would qualify or
doesn't have
be
to be like you don't have to like break the law or anything. Just
I
something.
wouldn't say. So I have something that happened to me in college that had shaped me, and of course you and I are real good friends, so you probably know where I'm going with this. But um, the thing that happened in college that forever shaped me was so I walked on, and I was I wasn't on scholarship and I had no money given to me or anything like that. I was putting myself through school. And I remember thinking to myself at some point, I can't remember when it was, early on, that like, I need to find something to make some sort of money, whether it's a scholarship money, whether that's a job, whatever it is. I need to find something that can bring in something to help me pay off this loan. And I can't remember how I found it, but I found that um, the Ole Miss softball team, the women's softball team, had a manager opening. I can't remember how I got the position. I don't know. I might have just shown up. I mean, I'm not dogging softball, but let's not act like people are beating down the doors of us to be a softball manager. And in fact, I think that's what I did. I think I literally just like showed up. They interviewed me to make sure I wasn't some serial killer, and then okay, you got the job. And I remember it was a $16,000 a year, quote unquote, job. I mean, that I just got
It's
scholarship
not
money
bad.
for it. And so that covered half of my costs because Ole Miss was about 32 grand per
Wow.
year. And hey, February 12th of 2014, I was running a drill with the coaches, and it was kind of, we think of it like a conveyor belt. So I know that the people, they can't see this video, but there was a coach to the left of me. I'm tossing him a ball. He's hitting the ball out to the outfield. The girls are throwing it into another manager. He then tosses me the ball, so on and so forth. And I remember tossing the coach a ball. I can remember this like it was yesterday. And he hit the ball. A girl got the ball. She went to throw it into the other manager. I don't know if she threw the ball badly. I don't know if the other manager was in the wrong place. I don't know what happened. But I remember hearing the other manager say, "Oh crap, watch out." And I don't remember anything after that. And still to this day, and it's now 2023, fixing to be 9 years almost to the day, I can still feel right above my right ear where it happened. But I fractured my skull and came within a centimeter any direction of dying instantly. And that shaped me for a litany of reasons. And I can, I think we're going to get into why it shaped me here in a little bit. But that, if somebody says, "Hey, what do you remember most about college?" I really don't remember that, but it's kind of a catch 22. But um, that's probably the thing that I quote unquote remember most about college.
Yeah, that's not a great story.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's a story that you want to read to your kids at bedtime. But I mean, that was without that happening. Yeah, it sucked, and yeah, there's a lot of things that I live with to this day on a daily basis because of that. But without that happening, um, I'm not a self-employed personal trainer. I haven't met my wife. I wouldn't have two beautiful
Yeah,
kids.
it was
I
meant to
wouldn't,
be.
and yeah, as cliche as that sounds, I wouldn't be where I am today had that not happened. Wish it
Yeah,
didn't happen, but I'm glad it did happen, if that makes any sense.
that's why it's like so hard to regret things. It's just because like everything that has happened in your life kind of built to where you are right now for
Exactly.
whatever reason. It could be a tiny reason, or it could be a thousand tiny reasons, or it could be one big reason, like almost dying trying to help out a college softball team. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yep, you're exactly right. And I was just talking to somebody about that yesterday. Regardless of how you feel about religion or anything like that, like I think we can all agree, regardless of anything, that everything happens for a reason. And whether it's because of God, whether it's because of whatever you think or whatever, but um, everything happens for a reason and because of a reason. And again, I can confidently state that had that not happened, that I would not be in the position that I'm in today, and I'm in a great position.
d since you had that, like, problem, I guess, did you ever think
Mhm.
about getting into that field to, like, help people with, like, brain injuries or
So, my so I deal with a lot of, and I'm very open about this, but I deal with a lot of mental health stuff because of that, and there is definitely, and even in my job today, so I'm a personal trainer, like I said, but I was just talking to a client about this literally this morning. So, guys, we're recording this on the 21st of January. I don't know when it's going to drop. I believe next Wednesday. But just this morning, Saturday, January 21st, 2023, I was talking to a client, and just completely lost my train of thought. What was the question
about
you asked? I'm sorry. Oh,
helping with brain.
helping. Yes, yes. So I was talking to her and I said, when I first started this 8 years ago, I thought I was just going to be like, Gabe, do five more, fix this, fix
Mhm.
that, do seven more. Like, next set is squats. That's what I thought it was going to be. That's like 2% of what I do. The other 98% of what I do is just listening to people and counseling people. And my wife's sitting here like, yep, you're right. Regardless of how good of a trainer you are, or how much you know, or how much you don't know, you are not there. Yeah, you're there to help people in their health, but you're really there. And I've learned this, and I've almost, I almost like where this is a badge of honor, quite frankly, is I can sit and just talk to people about their mental health, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether they're feeling like dog shit that day, whether they're feeling like on top of the clouds, whatever it is. Um, I can sit there and I can help them and talk to them. So, have I ever thought about doing that? I would be lying if I said no, but uh, I'm able to do it on a daily basis as is, just without a counselor degree or
Yeah.
psychology degree or whatever that would
So I mean, so in a way, you still kind of do it. You
be.
get your
Exactly.
fix of it, so it's not like some lost
E- e-
opportunity or anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like in helping someone with either eating right or just general fitness, it's not so much like doing it. It's just getting like it's getting the person to actually one wanting to, and two figuring like getting it where they actually enjoy it
Yep.
helps so much because I know me personally, I I have so many like it is so hard for me to get a workout in, but
Yep.
as long as I'm in the habit of hey, this day I'm going to do it, this day I'm going to do that, if I cannot miss it. If I miss it
Yep.
once, then it gives me a thought of hey, I can miss it again. I can miss it
Yep.
again. It's not a big deal.
Hmm.
So, like, do you ever have like troubles like that with clients, or since
Yeah. That's actually a really good question. I don't even know if that was on the cheat sheet. I don't think it was actually, Gabe. Yeah, you're surprising me over here. But that's actually a really good question because everything that we do, and when I say we, I'm talking my wife and I, is rooted in sustainability. And really, to kind of go back to the last thing that we talked about was uh, when you can help people realize. I was just on the phone with a client yesterday about this. When you can help people realize that they're worth the work, that they're worth the effort, that they're worth the time, they're worth the sweat or the tears or the blood or whatever it is, they're worth that workout or they're worth that whatever piece of chicken or the salad they had or whatever it would be, it makes it a little bit easier. If I said, Gabe, you're a worthless piece of crap, well, you're probably going to be like, oh, well, let me go eat ice cream. But if I said, dude, you're doing awesome and you can be really healthy and you are really healthy and um, tomorrow let's go out and run a mile, you're probably more likely to say, you know what, since I know I'm worth it, since I know I'm
for sure?
doing awesome and I'm on the right path, maybe I'll just go to bed tonight instead of having 7 cups of ice cream. So going back to what I said just a second ago about kind of this being more like counseling, if you want. I'm not calling myself a counselor, but it's a matter of getting people to believe that they're worth that work. And then once they believe they're worth that work, doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean that it's going to be something that they always want to do. I mean, I'll be completely transparent. I do not like working out, whether that's because I'm always around it, whether that's because um, I abuse myself in workouts. I don't know what it is, but uh, I don't like it. But I'm like, I've got two kids that I need to be healthy for. I've got a wife I need to be healthy for. I've got myself I need to be healthy for. And I'm worth putting in the work on a bike ride or putting in the work on a run or a weightlifting session or whatever that would be.
I gotcha. That makes sense. Uh, so I do want to go back to the forensic science and how do you converted that to personal training, and then
Yeah,
here in a little bit we'll go back to your business and talk about why you started it and all of that.
awesome. So, oh, go ahead.
No, you can go.
Um, I mean, really, forensic science, that was my thing. And then, and it's kind of funny because now I'm in science, but I remember looking at the courses that I was going to have to take. And so I went there and that was like the original quote unquote major I declared. And I see, they make you kind of decide when you first get there, what are you going to declare just so we can have an idea of your coursework that you're going to have to have. We're going to lay out the groundwork, yada, yada. And I remember seeing classes on it, and I was like, "What the hell is that? Like, what is that?" And I think it was something like uh, organic chemistry or something. And I vividly remember saying to myself about whatever that class was, and I don't mean this in a mean way, I don't mean this in a self-degrading way, but I know my limitations. I remember saying like, I am not smart enough for this class. Like that is so above what I'm capable of doing that like my brain just doesn't work. Like take calculus for example. I would like to think I'm a relatively smart guy, but my brain does not work in a calculus type manner. You would tell me 2 plus 2, I can do it. You ask me 100 plus 100, I can do it. You ask me A plus B equals CZY, I can't do it. So I knew that, and I remember again seeing Tatum's sitting here laughing. Tatum's my wife, but I remember seeing the coursework that I was going to have to do in the courses, and I said, I'm not even going to waste my time. Like this is just a waste of time. Like what else can I do? And I remember saying, I lost weight. I like being around people. Let's not act like being around dead people all day is fun. So let's give personal training a shot. So that's when after I had um, left Ole Miss because I had to medically withdraw because of the brain injury. Um, I remember saying, well, now I gotta be a personal trainer, so let me study for a cert just to get my foot in the door. Because at gyms, you can't just say, hey, I like training. Can I be a trainer here? No, you have to
Yeah.
have something. Just I guess kind of CYA in terms of them, but um, I got just a cert just to kind of get me in the door, and that was 8 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
Okay. So were you with your wife, or do you know her before?
So I got we got together in 2015. Yes, May of 2015. My injury was February 12th of 2014. So I was not with her
Okay.
for the first roughly 9 months of me being a trainer. And yeah, I
So
wasn't with her, but
okay.
what were you going to say?
I was just you pretty much answered what I was kind of curious on if like somebody motivated you to go a certain way or if it's just happened. Uh,
It was me, honestly. It happened, yes, but I also, Tatum and I were talking about this with somebody. I can't even remember who it was, but it was relatively recently. And it was like, I have no plan B. This is what I got to do. This is like, I am not qualified to do anything else right now. Now, doesn't mean that I can't be, doesn't mean that I won't be, doesn't mean that um, I, I don't have interest in other things, but I don't have the ability to go out and be a anything. It's all I've ever done. And so, uh, that's just what I've done. And then when we, of course, had our when we started our business and had the kids and all that, you kind of quickly your your life quickly changes in the sense of it's no longer about you. It's no longer about just your wife and you. It's about I got kids to provide for,
Mhm.
so I can't just bounce around job to job. I've got to find what I'm good at, stick with it for now until I'm told to leave or whatever. And it just so happens that being a personal trainer is what I'd like to think halfway decent at. And, this is what I do now.
I gotcha. What like, say your first year or so as a personal trainer, how was that, like, how was learning everything to actually well, like, what point did you feel comfortable in yourself that you learned enough so you wouldn't be, like, harming people? Or did that never even come into your mind? Was it just you started learning and then it's like, "Oh, this sounds like a good time," and then you just went off?
That's actually a really good question. Again, not on the cheat sheet. Thanks, Gabe. Um, but on a serious note, that's a great question because when push comes to shove, if I asked you, Gabe, can you take me through a workout? You would you would say yeah, and I would say okay, great. You take me through a workout. You could spot me. You could tell me the reps to do. You could tell me the sets, the weight, so on and so forth. You're probably not going to kill me. Like you're going to be able to give me a
No.
good workout.
Yeah.
With well, you're going to give me a good workout, and um, that'll be fine. But what separates, and that's what all trainers do. They can give you a good workout.
Mhm.
But what separates good from or average from good and good from really good from great is the plan, the thought process, the methodology, the nuances of things, so on and so forth. And so I think that my biggest learning curve was not um, it wasn't so much the exercises or the safety of it or whatever. It was really the learning how to connect with people. I'm a natural connector, I guess you could say, but I'm not. Everybody's different. I wouldn't do with you. I wouldn't talk with you how I would talk with your parents. Y'all are completely
Mhm.
different people. And if I
Which makes
wanted to
sense.
talk, if I wanted to talk to your parents in the same way I talk to you, they're going to be like, no. And the
Yeah.
inverse is also true. So I had to figure out how I was going to connect with people because at the end of the day, all I am when I train people, yes, I'm there to keep them safe. Yes, I'm there to get them results. Yes, I'm there to show them the ropes, so on and so forth. But I'm really just a friend. People want to just hang out with me, and that's what I want to do. I want to enjoy what I do. I don't just want to yell at people and say do seven more. That's not what I want to do. There's some trainers that do that, and they're really damn good at that. That's not me. That's not what I want to do. I want to enjoy waking up at well, I don't enjoy waking up at 4 in the morning, but I want to enjoy knowing okay, I'm going to train this person at 5:30 and I'm going to enjoy this person. I'm going to enjoy training my seven. I'm going to enjoy training my eight. I'm going to enjoy training my nine, so on and so forth. So, in a very long winded response, the biggest learning curve was learning how to interact with each person because each person is a completely different person.
That makes sense. I mean, like, me personally, I mean, if if I'm having fun or if I'm just, like, excited to just hang out with somebody for an hour or 2 and just hang out and talk, I would be more likely to work out than if somebody's just telling me what to do every single day. It's kinda like if
Exactly.
you do, like it's like if you play, like, pickup basketball to get cardio in. That's a lot more
Yep.
fun than just running 5 miles, but
Yep.
it's probably much better for you.
Yep. Yep. No, you're exactly right, and that's just that was something that took a little bit of time because when I started, uh, I was 19, I think. And so it's hard for me to ask people for money at 19 because they're like, what is this kid gonna do?
Mhm.
And then also, so I've got to prove myself. And then also, um, the that's crazy to think I've been doing this for 8 years, but soon to be 9 years. But my wife's sitting there like kind of wide eyed, like, wow. But that's like insane to think about that I've been doing this for almost 9 years.
Mhm.
Um, that was just my biggest thing was having to prove myself. But in proving myself, it's not just showing like beating my chest. I know what I'm doing. It's almost beating my chest in the way of like I can connect with you versus just take you through a good workout, because you don't have to be a trainer to take someone through a good workout. Anybody can do that, but you have to be a good connector to connect with people, and to be a good trainer.
I could completely understand that. So, when did you decide to I'm assuming you were at a gym being a personal trainer. When did you decide to actually take the plunge and make your own business? And
Okay. Oh, did you have something else to add to it?
I was just gonna say, and like, what was that process like?
I was I was managing a private personal training studio, and every trainer when they start wants to be able to have their own, they want to be able to do their own thing,
Of
because
course,
that's where you can make more money. That's where you can kind of dictate your schedule. That's where you can dictate who you train. That's where you can dictate where you train, how you train, so on and so forth. You don't have to answer to anybody. But it's not as easy as that. You have to develop a clientele that's going to follow you. You have to have a base of people that's going to follow you. And then you have to separate yourself. You have to differentiate yourself from another trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, or another trainer at Anytime Fitness, or Fitness Connection, or Planet Fitness, or wherever you work out at. You have to be able to separate yourself from them. So Tatum and I, we were married at the time, and um, we were already married at the time, I should say, and we kind of had a sit down conversation one day of just like, do we want to continue never seeing each other? Do we want to, because we had only been married for about a year. Do we want to continue never seeing each other? Do we want to continue working all these hours, 5 to 9, 5 a to 9 p every single day, 6 days a week? Do we want to continue that? If we do, great. We ain't gonna change nothing. Or do we not? And we were like, yeah, we don't want to do this. We want to have a family pretty soon, and yada yada yada. And so we said, we prayed about it, and we said, let's give this a shot. So she started it, and she'd had a health issue, so she wasn't really working, but we had incorporated, we had formed an LLC, all that. And she had to, because of that medical reason, or because of that medical issue, she had to resign from work. And so it was just me working. And we had no kids at the time, so we were fine on that one salary. But um, we, again, were like, what are we going to do with ourselves? And so I was scared, because we had one client paying us $200 a month. Uh, I didn't want to leave work. Not that I was making bukus of money, but I knew every 2 weeks I could bring in whatever, let's just say a
it's
thousand
safe.
dollars. Exactly. There was some safety there. And you hear this in all those self help books. And I know that you and I were actually talking last weekend about this.
Hmm.
Um, Pretty much all self help books are all the same, but you hear this in self help books. It's like, just do it. And so I had a falling out with the owner, who was my boss, the owner of the gym. And one day I was just basically like, I'm done. I quit. Here's the keys. Here's this. Here's that. I'm done. And Tatum and I had already had a trip planned, and we went on that trip. And this was December 16th, 2016. And I remember telling myself, I'm going to enjoy this while I'm gone. And then as soon as I get back, January 1st, 2017, I'm doing this full time. And I had nothing. I had nothing. We had depleted our savings because of this medical issue. We had to figure out things that were going on. We had to pay, I think we had to pay a hospital bill, so on and so forth. And we had Mary Valerie, again, paying us $200 a month. So I want you as a listener to picture this. Is I'm At the time I was 21 years old, fixing to be 22, and I'm making $200 a month. I have no savings. My wife is working with just that one client, Mary Valerie. I'm sitting at home, not saying that guys can't sit home and women can't work, because whatever. But, as a guy, that's hard to sit there and see your wife go out and work. And you're just like, well, I'll just sit on my ass and play a video game today, I guess. I didn't know what to do with myself. And I remember I signed up for this lead generation website, and every single day I was reaching out to about 150, 200 people, and nothing was happening. Nothing. And I, I think it was like February or March. We were pregnant, I might add. February and March, we couldn't get any new clients. And because you can't get new clients in 2 months of a business being open. Like that's just
Mhm.
stupid. If you opened a business and in 2 months you weren't making $50,000 a month, you shouldn't be surprised. But at the time I was like, why is this not working? Like I look back and I'm like, what an idiot. But it's neither here nor there. And I remember applying to jobs. I applied to hundreds of jobs. I probably applied to 200 jobs. Like and I wasn't trying to be no owner of a massive company. I'm just trying to do anything. I remember applying
Mhm.
to Kroger as a bagger. I remember that. Never heard anything from any of those people. So I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm not qualified enough to be a bagger at Kroger. I can't get any new clients. What the hell am I going to do? And then one person came along, they signed up, which allowed us to get to the next month. And the next person came on, which allowed us to get to the next month. And the next person came on, which allowed us to get to the next month, so on and so forth. And then 2.5 years later, what happens? COVID. COVID happens, and I know I'm kind of fast forwarding here, and this is a very long response, but COVID happens, and that turns everything upside down as well. Because it's like, well, we go to people's homes. People no longer know if they're going to have money, if they're going to be fired from their job, laid off from their job, yada, yada, yada. And did I mention we go to people's homes?
Mhm.
So I remember looking at Tatum, actually at this table that I'm, or in these chairs that I'm at right now, or in right now, and I remember being like, what the hell are we going to do? We have a daughter who is 2. We have a worldwide pandemic. What the hell is going to happen? And I was just telling a prospect this a couple days ago, last Thursday, or this past Thursday. We had one client. I will forever be indebted to this lady by the name of Bina. We had one client who, in one summer, brought us over 40 clients because of nothing more than referrals. And still to this day, we service the vast majority of those people. And I look up and I'm like, wow, just 5 short years ago, now 6, because it's 2023 and I started this full time January 1, 2020 or 2017. 6 short years ago, I was making $200 a month. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm making $500,000 a year right now. It'd be awesome if I could, but I'm not. Um, but I say all of that over the last few minutes to say, um, we just did it. We just did it. And when you have no backup plan, you have no backup plan. You've got to make this work. You have to make it work. And you again hear it in all of these uh, uh, self-help books is just do it. Like you and I were just talking about David Goggins. David Goggins is very, he can be vulgar, but David Goggins is very just blunt about it. Just
Mhm.
shut the fuck up and do your shit. Just do it. And like he says, just do it. Like nobody feels sorry for you. Nobody's gonna cry for you. None of that. Just do it. Nobody cares about what you're going through because they're going through their own stuff. Doesn't mean that people don't care about you, but if I told you, Gabe, this is just so hard, yeah, you're going to be a great friend and listen to me, but that doesn't change the fact that you still have your own stuff going on in your own life.
Yeah.
And so I say again, all that to say, we just did it. We had no choice but to just do it, and we just did it. And yeah, we were blessed. And yeah, we got a couple lucky breaks, and yeah, we had a couple lucky clients, but for the most part, we just did it.
I mean, that makes sense. If I mean, any successful thing usually starts off with some terrible circumstances, and
Yep,
then they just kind of like push through, and then eventually you like get one break, and then you get another one or whatever.
yep,
Um,
yep.
First off, what's your business called, and how did you come up with the name?
That is a great question. So our name is GEM Training. So gym training. Oh, so clever. Oh, that's so cute. Gym is GEM, like I said, and that stands for Giving Exercise Meaning. Giving exercise meaning is different to everybody. What exercise means to you is different than what exercise means to me. What exercise means to me is being able to do a triathlon at the end of, or an Ironman at the end of 2024. What exercise means to you, maybe being able to play paintball better tomorrow, being able to run a little bit further tomorrow, being able to run a little bit
That's
harder
exactly it.
tomorrow. So it's different. For what exercise means to my wife is being physically strong so that she can carry her kids around, so that she can roll around with them, play with them, and be able to do that when we have grandkids in whatever 15, 20, 30 years. And so um, it's day. Yeah, if we have kids in 15 years, we got some issues, but whatever. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Or if we have grandkids, I should say. But yeah, it stands for giving exercise meaning, and that's something again that's different person to person, but that again goes to show the uh, or that goes to prove our heart, not prove, um, show our
Kind of
heart.
express.
Exactly express what we want and what we desire. This is not. We tell people all the time, we are not a weight loss company. We are not a get skinny quick. I almost said get rich quick. We're not a get skinny quick program. If you want to get skinny quick, somebody else will do that better for you. That's just not what we're about. We're about doing things lifelong, sustainably, so that what I teach you tonight, January 21st, 2023, you can still be doing January 21st, 2100. Um, that's just what we want.
I feel like every successful, well, you don't have to have it, but most successful businesses have some kind of why on why if they do something, and like that makes
Our,
sense on
our,
why.
our why is it's adding years to people's lives. Like my personal fit, people ask me sometimes, um, what is your favorite like demographic to train? Is it athletes? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? And every single time, without fail, very quickly, I say old people, like geriatrics. The older you are, the more I love you. The reason being is because you and I, late 20s, we have significantly different goals, and a lot of times our goals are not in a bad way, but our goals are vain pursuits. I want to be better at
Hmm.
paintball. I want to be able to run an Ironman. I want to get on a bodybuilding stage. I want to be able to lift 500 pounds. I want to have six pack, whatever. When you hit 70, 75, 80, those things don't matter. You're just like, I want to feel better and I want to live longer. And that
Be able
that
to
is
walk
so
up a stairs or walk outside.
exactly.
What? Yeah,
Exactly, and not quite literally die. I don't want to feel like I'm about to die walking up a flight of stairs or whatever. I don't want to. I want to be able to. You would be amazed at how many people, how many older people I trained that aren't able to like get down on the ground and then get up in a what's the word, in a normal time frame. They've got to kind of like brace themselves, okay, and they go to get down and they
hmm
just basically fall down, and then they're like, okay, I need to amp myself up to get up off the ground. Like that's not what life is meant to be. And I understand when you're older, things happen. I understand your body changes, your bones get a little weaker or whatever. I get that. You may lose muscle, but like that's not how life is supposed to be. And so that's why older people are amongst my favorite people to train, because not amongst, they are my favorite people to train, is because they really understand what health is, and more importantly what it's not. And it is not having a six pack, it is not being able to do an Ironman, it is not being able to run paintball or whatever. That stuff's cool and we should have fun doing things, but our main reason for working out should be to live a longer, more prosperous, more fruitful life.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily disagree or anything. Going kind of on that, what is your most like rewarding experience or I guess achievement like from a client from the say the very start to I don't want to say the end because it's an ever going thing, but like to now, like do you have a somebody that you can just think about? It's like I'm so happy about this one thing. I know you probably have uh, thousands of them, but
So there was this one. So, guys, for listeners that don't know, which is literally everybody, because we haven't shared this, Gabe and I are real good friends. We met through video games. And I have a reason to say that. First off, isn't it crazy how video games are able to bring people from like all walks of life and from all around the world and all that? So, um, it's awesome.
it's
So,
happening more and more now too.
it truly is. I was on Reddit the other day, and this lady, she posted a picture of her husband, and it was his last picture that they took together. They were at a hot air balloon festival, and it was she basically posted a caption saying like, "This is my husband, just lost him due to XYZ," and here's our story. And then I read the story, and it was they met on Farmville on Facebook.
Wow.
He lived in like Denmark, and she lived in like California or something. They talked and they played with each other. I don't really know how Farmville works. And then they just developed a relationship. They developed a friendship. He came over here to see her, like to like meet up because they had feelings for each other, and he never went back. Like that, you see that type of stuff happening more and more and more,
Hmm.
like that type of stuff. So I say all that to say, my most probably my the thing that makes me happiest is a guy that I met playing Xbox back in probably 2007, 2008. So I was like 12, 13. And he's a buddy by the name of Kyle. I was playing Call of Duty World at War, and I was introduced to him by somebody else. COD 5 is how I can explain Call of Duty World at War. And we got to know each other, whatever. He had not hit puberty yet. I'm going through puberty, and we're just kind of like, we become friends. And we stay in contact. I get a PlayStation, so we no longer play, but we stay in contact with each other like occasionally. Hey man, how you doing? How's life? Yada yada. And then one day he's messaging me on Instagram. I think like checking in or something, and I had posted something about our company. And he said, "Dude, I really wish you could. I really wish you could train me." He lives in Michigan and I live in Texas. And I was like, "Well, funny you say that, dude. We actually offer online training." So I explained to him what that is, yada yada. And we get on the phone. And I shit you not when I say this is what this guy was eating. So I kind of go through the sales process, whatever. And I said, "So what does a normal day for you look like?" This guy was severely overweight. He was 300 and I think he was 348 pounds. And I said, "So what does a day look like for you in terms of eating?" He was a professional gamer, so he played late at night and whatever. And I know he's not going to tell me spinach and broccoli. Like I know it's going to be pretty unhealthy. He has whatever he has for breakfast and lunch. And he said dinner every single night. Every single night was two Big Macs, three McChickens, three cheeseburgers, a 20-piece McNugget, an ice cream cone, and an apple pie. And he washed it down with like a Coke.
Wow.
And
That makes me want to throw up.
I remember hearing it, and at the time I was like, "Oh, okay, man, like we're gonna improve that, we're gonna work on that, yada yada." But I remember hearing it in my head, being like, "Oh my god, if this guy just eats half of that, which is still a shit ton of food, this dude's gonna lose a lot of weight." Like, and that was his goal. He wanted to, he not even goal. That is what he needed. Like, he was on just a fast, just fast track to dying very young. And we uh, worked together for about a year and a half. He lost 126 pounds, 127 pounds.
Wow.
And that was 4 years ago that we stopped working together. I think 4 years, probably about 3 years ago. He's maintained it. And I look and I'm like, this isn't even the same guy. Like the Kyle I knew then is like, it literally looks like a completely different person. And uh, that's probably my quote unquote crowning achievement. A, because he was a really good friend, and then B, because like he just lost so much weight. And it's not even about the weight loss. Yes, that plays into it, but it's not even about the weight loss. It's the fact that like he was going to die a very
Hmm.
young death, and because of him trusting me, he's not. End of story.
That,
He's no longer going to die extremely young for health reasons, or obesity or whatever. He's now going to, hopefully, he's going to live a long, fruitful, prosperous life that is not affected by the fact that he's 350 pounds.
that makes sense. I mean, I feel like obesity and just eat obesity and just like poor eating is really rampant around the world. If you could, like, what do you think? Just a few things you could suggest to people if they came up to you for them to just immediately, on general, just improve their health.
Fruit or vegetable in every meal, water before every meal, exercise 3 times a week. There you go. I think that that was on the cheat sheet, but I promise I hadn't looked at it on the cheat sheet, Gabe. If it was, I did look at the cheat sheet, I promise. But um, I answered that so quickly because that's just fruit or vegetable in every meal. Nobody ever got unhealthy from eating too much broccoli. I don't know why I've said broccoli like 4 times. Probably because it's my favorite vegetable, but I don't really care what vegetable you eat. Just eat a freaking vegetable. Fruit or vegetable in every meal. Water before every meal. There's a lot of research that shows people who drink water before every meal, A, they're more hydrated, duh, and then B, they eat less because water does take up space in your stomach. And then exercising 3 times a week. Exercise doesn't have to be going and be Ronnie Coleman, who's the greatest bodybuilder of all time. It doesn't mean you need to be the next Tom Brady or LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Walking is exercise. Going out and playing with your kids is exercise. Be active 3 times a week, 30 minutes, and you'll be golden.
I can attest to that. I like for December, I pretty much just took the whole December and like a week or so in January off, and I acted like not I mean, like taking that break wasn't going to affect anything, and I just
And it
dived
did.
right into a workout, and my legs now I have like shin splints, and I've never had shin splints before, and it was just my legs are just toast just because
Yep.
I just jump back into it instead of
Yep.
easing my way, which I
Yep.
tend to have a habit of doing that.
That's and
Um,
that's most people, and that's why um, we always tell people start slow. It, and Tatum, my wife, coined this. I don't know if she picked it up from somebody. I don't know if she came up with it on her own. If she came up with it on her own, I have even more respect for her than I already do. And that is always something is better than all or nothing. And I told you that when we worked together. It's because if you're always doing something, if you work out 3 times a week for 52 weeks, that is so much better than working out 7 times a week for 5 weeks. So much better. So go out and work out 2 or 3 times a week for 52 weeks for the rest of your life versus stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting.
mhm.
The reason that New Year's resolutions don't succeed, it's not because people suck. It's not because people lack motivation. It's not because people don't have discipline. It's because people go way too hard, way too fast. It would be like going on a date with your girlfriend for the first time saying, I love you, and dropping down on one knee. If you did that, you would be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Calm down. Now, I say that. I told my wife I was going to marry her the first date we had, but that's neither here nor there. Pretend I didn't say that. But, but, the thing is that's what it's like going all into to exercise and changing the way you eat and all of that crap. That's the same thing as if you were just going on a first date and saying, "Hey, let's get married."
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do it with that. So why are you doing it with your health? And it's because we're fed all these things that say we have to do that, but you don't have to do that. You just don't.
I know, like, I mean, you said New Year's resolution and stuff. One of my New Year's resolution wasn't actually like to do anything. It was just consistency. Just
Yep.
because I feel like I can like just workouts. I mean, I can do a workout for a month, but it's all I just need one excuse, and then it's like it's
That's
hard to get back.
everybody.
Like it's hard to get back onto it. You just go do it. Even if you don't feel like doing anything, I would say that what helps me the most is just be like, I'll just do one set, or I'll if I'm on the bike or something, I'll just do it for 5 minutes, or
Yep.
and just do it for a little bit, and then 9 times out of 10, almost really almost never I finish the workout. I mean, I do actually do the workout that I wanted to do from the beginning, or whatever.
And
If it's
that's something you and I had talked about when we worked together. Is just give it 5 minutes, and that's actually something I took away from Tatum.
I might have taken that from you actually.
it,
So
it give it 5 minutes, and if you if you feel like crap after the 5 minutes and you're like, I don't want to do this, don't do it. But the vast majority of the time, by the time you get up and get moving and you're already like, well, hell, I've already warmed up. If for no other reason than you're like, well, I've already warmed up, I already got my clothes on, I already got
yeah, I don't want to
the
have to take a
water
shower
flowing.
already.
Exactly. Like, I don't want to just stop this. I just got all warmed up and yada yada. So screw it, I'll just do it. And honestly, so many people, they think that with exercise, you're always going to want to do it. You're not. Motivation dies out. It just does. People are like, well, I'm not motivated. I had a client just today, just today, tell me that I am not motivated, and I said, well, good. I'm not expecting you to be. And
Do it
she looks at
anyways.
me like I have five eyes. And I said, you're not going to be motivated forever. If you think you're going to be motivated forever, you're wrong. You're just flat out wrong. And you've got to just lean into those habits. Yeah, let motivation carry you for a little bit. That's fine. And it will, regardless of if that's right or wrong. It will carry you for a little bit. But for that little bit, use that motivation that's carrying you to create the habits that will continue to carry you.
I like that a lot. Uh,
Hey, thanks. That was just for myself. That is not Tatum. She's not gonna get the credit for that one. That's me right there.
so, I mean, how do you actually like? So you're always around workouts. You're always around people talking about workouts, and I'm sure, or health in general. But how do you set aside your own time to do your own workouts? How often do you work out? And uh, we can pause this and then just come back in a second. Okay, I'll just edit this part out. But so how often do you actually work out? And how often do you just don't want to at all, but you still do it? I, it's probably a little bit harder with your schedule since you're always
So
around.
I almost want to have my wife answer this. Um, can I do that? Can I have my wife answer this question?
Sure,
You may be able to hear her on the mic. Babe, come over here
probably
real quick, please. So my wife's coming over here. She just said, "Oh dear." My wife is 65 at heart. She's 26, but are you 26? Yeah, you're
Soon to be
soon to
27.
be
Yeah.
27. Um, so Gabe asked the question, "How often do you want to work out?" Me, like talking about me personally. He asked
hmm
me this question. Tell him what my answer is.
Approximately 0% of the time.
Great. Thanks. I'm a health professional. That's all I needed,
Is
babe.
that all you need
All
from
I
me?
needed. That is all I needed because I knew that was
All
going to be your
right.
answer. When this episode blows up, you're gonna be the star of it. I don't want to. I'm around it 15, 16, 17 hours a day, 80 hours a week. I don't want to do it. I just don't. But like I say this to clients, and I say it when I say it. Uh, I don't want to sound mean. I don't want to sound insensitive. I don't want to sound heartless. But the thing is like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want to be healthy, you just have to do it. End of story. If you don't want to be healthy, cool. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't. And I tell clients that. If you want to go out and you want to just eat pizza all day, every day, whatever, I'd rather you not because I want you to see results. But if that's what you want to do, it ain't gonna keep me from sleeping tonight. I don't care. If you don't want to work out, I mean, I'd like you to. I'd like to service what you paid me, but it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Like I still sleep at night totally fine. So it doesn't. It, you're not gonna want to do it. You don't want to wake up and go to work every day, Gabe. If you tell me you do, you're lying to me. And if you do say you want to go to work every day, you need to have your brain checked out. Nobody wants to go
hmm
to work every day, but you do it because you got bills to pay. You have health bills to pay as well. You can't just neglect your body and then whine and complain when you're 50 that you're always in pain and that you have heart disease and you have this and you have that. Well, what the hell did you expect was going to happen? And I hate to sound so insensitive about it, but it's the truth. So, do I want to work out? Absolutely not. I don't want to come home and get home at 9 o'clock and work out at 9:30. I don't want to do that to get right back up at 4 o'clock the next morning. I don't want to do that. But I do have to uphold some sort of health for clients because it's kind of my job. But B, more importantly, is I want to be around for my kids. I can't just come home, drink a bunch, eat a bunch, and just magically wake up healthy. It doesn't work like that. So, in a very long-winded response, I very rarely want to work out, and I work out at like 9:30 at night, pretty much like four, five,
I could
six
never
days a
do
week.
that.
But the thing is if you had to, you would.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
you make
I
time
have
for
the
what you care about.
yeah, I have the like my best time to work out is either in the morning or as soon as I get off work before I sit down and do something else.
If I could have a perfect workout time, it's mid-morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now life is not perfect, so I very, very, very rarely get to work out then. But if I'm able to work out then, you best be sure I'm going to be working out then. But um, I have to make do with what I've got, and I think that so often people um, they they think that they have to have the perfect situation. They think they have to have the perfect variables. They think they have to have everything in their control and the perfect setting, setup, and everything so that they can execute it. That's not how it goes. Like, that's just life. If I thought, well, man, I'm going to have to do this XYZ thing perfect, I wouldn't have started my own business. I wouldn't have left a job that was paying me, not a whole lot, but paying me to go and make $200 a month. Like, I, it made no sense to be doing all that. It makes no sense to only be eating good foods, occasionally having quote unquote bad foods, even though there's no good or bad foods. But it doesn't make sense to work out at 9:30 at night after working 16 hours. But it doesn't really matter. I can control what I can control. And if me being able to control the fact that I've just worked out, even if it's for 30 minutes at 9:30 until 10 o'clock at night, then so be it. Again, always something is better than all or nothing.
And you kind of get that sense of like achievement whenever you
A
like
100%.
like you do not want to work out at all. You do not want to be there at all. And then you finish like the whole workout, you can be like, I hate everything. I do not want to be here. The second you finish, there's just like a kind of like relief for like weights off your shoulders. Like, I just did something that was ultimately just really hard. And now you feel so much better about yourself.
You are exactly right. I just today I had that. So we have a Peloton that I thoroughly enjoy, and I finished with work. So I work on Saturdays as well. You know that, but the listeners, of course, don't. And I got home and I had to go to the grocery store. I had to hang out with the family. I had to be a dad. I had to be a husband. I had to go to church. We had a meeting after church, and I was like, I'm not going to work out tonight after I get home. I just know that, like after church and all that. I really don't want to work out right now because I either A, want to chill out with the kids or I want to sleep or take a quick nap, whatever. But I'm just going to work out. I'm not going to sit here and say I felt amazing afterwards because it was freaking hard. But I was like, okay, I just did it. I did the thing. Props to you, Hunter. And more than anything, I know I helped my body. I know I helped my health. No workout is ever going to hurt your health, generally speaking. I mean, I guess if you get hurt, it's going to hurt you, but
Mhm.
no workout's going to hurt your health. And so I was like, great. I just did something. I feel it. I feel like you said, that sense of achievement. I feel like I validated myself, validated my worth, yada yada yada. And you look up, and it's now 9:41 at night, and I finished my workout 7 hours ago, and whoop de doo, I feel awesome.
Okay. I like it. Can you just give it, you don't have to do super in detailed, but can you give me like a day in the life of a personal trainer, like this, like from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed?
Wake up at 4 o'clock. Question: my God, why am I waking up at 4 o'clock every freaking morning? What? There's got to be something else in my life that I could do. Get out of bed. Oh yeah, I enjoy my job. Kid you not. Every morning. Every morning, I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Every single morning because I'm up so freaking early. But it's like I said, as soon as I get up out of bed, I'm like, oh, okay, I enjoy what I do. Leave the house or grab some breakfast. Leave the house. Train typically 5:30 to probably 7:45, 8. Doesn't mean that I'm constantly booked, but I am constantly gone. I don't come home. Get home. If the kids are still awake, I put my daughter to bed. If they're not, well, okay. Um, Talk to my wife, hang out, work out. If the Celtics are on, and I imagine you're probably going to ask me about the Celtics here in a little bit because I know that was on the cheat sheet. If the Celtics are on, I will watch the Celtics, and if they're not on, but they had been on, I will watch my recorded Celtic game, and then I go to bed. I don't get enough sleep. Working on that. Go to bed about 11:30. Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, do the same thing.
Nice. Okay. That's a full
It's
day.
it's 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 honestly very I and my wife can attest to this. I am such a creature of habit. Babe, would you say I'm a creature of habit? Don't say no and make me look like an idiot. She goes, sure. I'm a creature of habit. I'm very routine oriented and I like doing, my wife just goes, guys, for y'all can't see on the video, she rolled her eyes. Um, but I like doing the same thing. I very much am, I don't like it to deviate from certain things. Um, so that's just what I do. And again, I honest to God, love what I do with all of my heart. I really do love what I do. It's hard working as much as I do, but it's just the season that we're in for right now, and this too shall pass.
So we can go off of that topic now. We'll get into Celtics. Why? Well, first off, how are you a Celtics fan, and why are you a Celtics fan?
Okay, when I jumped on the bandwagons of all the teams that were doing good in 2001, the Celtics, the Timberwolves were on the up and up. They had a guy by the name of Kevin Garnett, and they ended up being really good in 2003 when they had Sam Cassell, Trenton Hassel, my bad, Latrell Sprewell, Kevin Garnett, and Michael Olowokandi. I remember that team, and I remember them dominating in the Western Conference. They made it to the Western Conference Finals, got beat by the Spurs, who ended up winning the championship. But I say that I think that was the year they swept LeBron, his second season. But um, fell in love with Kevin Garnett, fell in love with him. And I was like, this guy's my favorite player ever. He's like Michael Jordan. He's not, but thought he was like Michael Jordan. And fun little fact about Kevin Garnett, he was the first ever player drafted straight out of high school in the NBA. But I just fell in love. He got traded to the Celtics in 2008, so I was a huge Timberwolves fan. He got traded to the Celtics in 2008, so I followed him, and I was like, oh, I'm a huge Celtic fan now. I learned the history of all of the Celtics. I learned the history of all the players, the teams, the championships, just the greatness and the aura that surrounded the Celtics. Fell in love with them and have never looked back. I when I say this, I mean it wholeheartedly. God's my first love. My family's my second love. The Celtics are my third love. Like I just love the Celtics. Um, I just love them.
Do you think they're going to win the championship this year? I know they're one of the best teams right now.
They are actually the best team in the league. They're
Debatable.
they're they are extremely good. And yes, you can say, well, he's a homer. He thinks that. I do believe top to bottom, they're the best team in the NBA. And most
They have the
analysts
best
would agree.
record too, so
Yeah, and most analysts would agree that they're top to bottom the best team in the league. They have no holes. The only
well,
hole that you could say is they don't have a backup center, but Luke Cornett's been giving them really good minutes.
I will
Uh,
say they did give up 150 to the Thunder. Just saying.
they gave up actually 151. Thank you. That was very hard to watch, and but I am a big enough Celtics fan that I did watch the whole game, and I remember thinking to myself because I watched it actually. That was one of those late nights. Got home from work real late, yada yada, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to hear from Gabe tomorrow about this stupid game. And you know who I
Mm.
heard from about that stupid game? It was Gabe. But that's okay. To answer your question, if they are playing in June in the finals, I won't be surprised. If they're not, I will be absolutely shocked. Now, anything can happen when you put the two best teams against the two best teams.
Of course.
But if you put a gun to my head, yes, I'm saying the Celtics are winning the finals.
Well, let's not do that. Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Hopefully not do that, but yeah, I do think they'll win.
Is your fourth love the Chicago Bears?
My fourth love is the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields. I will stand for no hate against that guy. He is not a running back. He is a quarterback.
He's a
Thank you,
quarterback
Gabe.
that isn't the
That
best quarterback.
that really runs. But yes, my fourth love is Chicago Bears. Finally got to see a game at Soldier Field this past December 4th to be exact, against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers' last game at Soldier Field. Yes, it's not confirmed, but it might as well be confirmed. That was a blast. Yes, love the Chicago Bears.
What made you fall in love with them since
2000,
Celtics?
2001, 2001, jumped on the bandwagon to all the teams that were doing good. They had a quarterback out of Ohio State by the name of Craig Krenzel. I thought he was like the next hot big thing. I thought he was going to be amazing. He sucked and fizzled out within literally, I think, like a year. But yeah, and if I can watch Sexy Rexy lead them to a Super Bowl, I can watch anything. If I can watch Jay Cutler smoking Jay, if I can watch Mitch Trubisky, I have come to the conclusion. If I can watch Mitch Trubisky, my wife is literally laughing about this because he was that damn bad. If I can watch him and Matt Nagy lead this team to the playoffs, and if not for the double doink, lead them to the NFC Championship game and not cry myself to sleep every night, I can get through anything in any part of life, much less as a Chicago Bear fan. So, love the Chicago Bears.
I was actually I just saw something about the he's number 91 on the team. Like he actually like tipped that kick, and that's what made it off and hit the crossbar and all that.
There was a slight tip. Um,
It was like his
yeah,
fingertips.
yeah. It really didn't even change like the trajectory of the ball. But if that's what we want to say to make Cody Parkey feel better about himself, that's what we
I
want to say.
mean, he just needed a little tiny bit, and it would have went in. So even
I will never forget. We were at Tatum's childhood best friend's wedding. She was having her first dance with her dad. I was watching the game because Tatum made me go to this stupid wedding instead of going. Tatum's like, "Oh my gosh." Yes, I was so mad. Clearly, I still am. But not as mad as I was that I missed Game 7 in the 2015 NBA Finals when LeBron James blocked Andre Iguodala for premarital counseling. I will never let that woman live that down for as long as we live. I was literally, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I was literally, and I'm looking square at her in the eyes. I was sitting in a Taco Bell booth. I will never forget where I was. I could not watch it online because I couldn't find a stream, and YouTube TV was not a thing. And I was following it on ESPN Gamecast, and I saw LeBron James blocks Andre Iguodala's layup, and then I saw the Cavs win. I will never forget how hot I was that I did not get to see the king, the GOAT, win his championship. I was so mad. But that's a hot take. I say all that to say I went to that wedding and I was watching the game. I had it on my phone. Cody Parkey double doinked it. Everybody from that wedding, all the dudes were like huddled up by our table watching the game. Like the father daughter dance didn't even matter. It was like it wasn't even happening. And I was so pumped. I had the phone like propped up. People, y'all can't see video, but I'm like really getting into this. I had the phone propped up and I'm just sitting there, like how guys are. They like get like 2 inches away, like they can control it.
yeah, of course.
And I take a big old deep breath. He kicks the ball, and I'm like, oh my God, this thing's going to go in and we're going to go to the NFC Championship game. This is going to be like the 2016. We're going to go to the Super Bowl again. This is going to be because they would have beat the Eagles that year. But that was the year that the Eagles had the Philly Miracle. But he double doinks it. I will never forget screaming. Middle of the daddy daughter dance. And then I left shortly thereafter. I know that was a very anticlimactic story, but
That's
that was heartbreaking to me. My heart still weeps for that. Cody Parkey, if not for your stupid self, the Bears would have won that title. But whatever.
I was rooting for the Bears whenever they played against the Colts. I mean, the Devin Hester kick return for a touchdown at the opening.
That was I think that was either the that was a month after Vince Young led the Texas Longhorns to the USC national champion or to the national championship over USC, Matt Lyon and Reggie Bush. That was the first time I had ever cried sports tears. When Devin Hester returned that opening kickoff, I will never forget where I was. I was screaming into a pillow so hard that I just started sobbing. And I remember thinking, we are going to win this game. And then we didn't
Yeah,
score
I
another
was gonna say,
touchdown.
and then the offense just did nothing for the rest of the game. But
Yeah, we didn't score another touchdown, so that was great.
anyways, well, thanks for coming on. I know it's kind of late, so I'll let you go. Is there anything you want to say or shout out or anything before we get off?
You know, just want to say thank you so much for having me on here. Hopefully they enjoyed it.